Carol, I know that with the growing digitization of and globalization of information, that I'm sure you've reached out to look at the value of academic libraries, but and I'm sure you've talked also to faculty and students. What kind of a feedback have you received from them?
Well, it's different. Again, we've broken down services and collections into small pieces. So the team that I'm leading is one that builds on research I've done in the past, which is looking at more of the value of collections, which is value of access to scholarly materials, journal articles, books, other kinds of materials. And in those cases, we look at what are the outcomes and value to the readers. So to the faculty, to the students, graduate students and undergraduate students, how does having access to scholarly materials help them do their jobs better? So how does it help them do better research? How does it help them teach? And then also at that we look at competition, if you will, or other sources. So if what percent of their readings come from the library collections and what percent come from other places? And what's the cost in terms of time of getting access to things from the library or from other sources? So we can look at cost benefit, we can look at trade-offs, we can look at outcomes and value. And part of that, I think, goes to the question you're asking about what do they tell us? So part of it is qualitative kind of information. So we're not just doing survey quantitative. We also have interviews and open-ended questions if we do surveys. And it's about, tell us about your use of digital materials, your use of scholarly materials. How has that changed over the last 10 years? Sometimes we ask. We also ask in the a survey or a study of the role of the information commons. We've asked about, what kinds of things do you do there? How does that figure into your daily life, for example, or your academic life? And so in that case, we get a lot of testimonials. We get a lot of good, rich, qualitative feedback of how much more difficult it would be to do teaching, research, et cetera, without having the space, the services, and the collections in the library.
So are you generally, from students and scholars, receiving essentially a positive feedback?
Mostly positive. Not everything is positive.
Sure, of course.
And of course, one of the main messages we get, and not surprising, that convenience is the big factor. So if something is convenient, then the value goes up. So there is a relationship. Value is a relationship that has to do with the content if you're looking at collections. But there's also a component of convenience. And for journal collections, the value from e-journal collections in the library, the convenience and the content are very, very high. So we get lots of positive feedback from that. If I can get it quickly and it's high quality information, then the value is quite high. If it's print and it's to faculty, the value isn't quite as high because the convenience is slightly lower, which is kind of an interesting mix. Not true for everybody, even we're looking at averages. The other is that for books, at least we've through extended funding from JISC in the UK, we're also looking at 6 universities in the United Kingdom. And there we've looked at reading patterns of faculty, academic staff with books. And they're not using a lot of e-books yet. The faculty are not, the students do. But their convenience outweighs library a lot for books. So the most convenient way to get a book is to buy it or have a publisher send it to you and find it on your shelf. And so that the library's role with books is actually less than the library's role with journals, and that's the convenience factor, not the quality factor. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
Yes.
You got to have both. You got to have the quality and the convenience.